Why, hello, folks. How we doing? Thrush Pondo here, and this is going to be the last live chat of 2024. Here's hoping 2025 will be a bit better. Um, I won't do something really self-destructive and say, "Well, I don't see how it could be any worse." Never, ever, ever, never say that. Although technically, I just did. But anyway, again, folks, I can think of no one I'd rather like while the last few remaining hours with than you folks. Hey, it's Lance for the win. Lance, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you, bro. I got your message on Facebook. I've had a lot going on. I didn't get a chance to get back to you, but thanks for reaching out, and it's good to see you today. Yes, and farewell to Jimmy Carter. Dan, the breaking news man, is here, and he says hello. Sean Innes is here. He says hello, happy early New Year's early, and yes, it is a few days early. And only 257 is here and says, "No way, this is the last chat." What's my last Sunday live chat? Because this is the last Sunday of 2024. We'll see what goes on, won't we? Money. Christopher Wilkinson's here. He says, "Good evening, Bob. I hope you're feeling better, by the way." Christopher's been dealing with another bout of COVID. And Dan says peanut prices will go up now. And I remember when I was a kid many years ago, we had to come up with political cartoons in like an art class or a civics art class. And one of them, it was talking about the change in administration from Jimmy Carter to President Reagan. And one showed a jar of peanuts on a presidential desk, and it switched to a jar of jelly beans. As you know, President Reagan's weakness was jelly beans, and he always kept a big jar of jelly beans on his desk. And yes, Olivia Hussey has passed on as well, by the way. Best known, of course, for playing Mary Magdalene, Juliet, and Franco Zeffirelli's adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, and possibly, arguably, the first slasher film ever made, Black Christmas. Let's just see what we get going on here. 257 says, Sean, every scene it happened tomorrow. Good movie on Pluto. It happened tomorrow. I'm not familiar with it. And yes, Sean's like, what? Olivia Hussey too? Yes, she died. I want to say yesterday. Johnny Orchard is here. He says, hello, everyone. Johnny, so glad you could join us tonight. And Christopher says, I met Billy Carter. Bob, really? Really? Was your father dispatched to as security when he was in the sheriff's department? Either way, that's very cool. Um, Mikey Susie Forrest says, "R.I.P. Johnny." I'm sorry, Jimmy Carter. 100 years of excellence. Yes, he will be. It's a very heavy casualty. It's very sad that we lost Mr. Carter. Although I'm very proud that he made it to 100. And 257 says it's a fantasy comedy movie. Pawns. Um, no, I haven't heard about it, but it yeah, I will check it out, by the way, because I like the title. I have a funny feeling it has something to do with time travel. And Melissa Foster is here. It says, hi, Thrash Pondo, and to all. Melissa, so nice you could make it. My lady John Doe is here and says, am I here? You certainly are, by the way. Thank you, John, for your presence. And 57 says, kind of pawns. I might happen to. Deb is here. Terrell Eugene Bellinger says, uh, John Orchard about Olivia Hussey. Yes, a heavy casualty there. Dan, the breaking news man, says Olivia was in the television miniseries It Too. She was. She was. I always forget that, but yes, she was. She was. And 257 says it happened tomorrow, Pawns. It happened tomorrow. I will try to remember that title. I think I said it happened today or it happened earlier. But I will remember it happened tomorrow. You got it. And yes, Ted, but rest in peace, Mr. Carter. And Sean says, is it the movie, the 1944 movie? And Mikey, I'm just gonna say Mikey from this point forward. It's a bit of an abbreviation. Mikey says, "Hey, Chatters, R.I.P. Olivia Hussey, great loss. One of her best performances, Virgin Mary and Jesus of Nazareth." Yes, that's actually well. She has three iconic roles. That's arguably her biggest. But of course, Franco Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet, and because I'm a huge fan of horror movies, I will always attribute her to Black Christmas. Um, to reiterate, many feel that was the first of the slasher horror film sub franchise. Lynn says should have Tug on here. Tug just got back from vacation. I'm sure he is exhausted. And John says the sound of thunder. Your thoughts? Are you referring to the short story by oh come on brain Ray Bradbury, the Ray Bradbury short story about time travel? Um, well, I was referring to It Happened Tomorrow, but as far as Sound of Thunder, it's actually an absolutely amazing story. It really is. And I love the twist ending, and I think I'm falling behind a little, so I'm going to go back. So my thoughts are Sound of Thunder, double plus good. Zerblitzer series says good evening to all. Brogo's here, says hello everyone. Tracy Rothmeyer says hey y'all. Happy Hanukkah, Tracy. What you mean is here says hello everyone. 257 says my staff member is watching the classic The Evil Dead movie from the 1980s. The original, the original might be my favorite. Watch it as a double feature with Equinox and tell me what you think. Dan says also she was in a remake of Psycho. I with with what's his name? Yeah, I remember the remake. I didn't I don't honest to God I don't think I watched it. A lot of people saying hello to one another. Mikey says she also played a young Norma Bates before uh Vera Familia in the film Psycho 4 at the beginning. Good catch. And Sean says the movie Sound of Thunder was a failure. Good cast though. I don't know how you could expand that to a feature length film. It works great as like a 20-30 minute short story. I don't know how you expand it. But I heard they made it into a feature film. I like the short story. I had a comic adaptation 30, 40 years ago, and it was in Ray Bradbury Theater as well. Vince Vaughn, yes, Vince Vaughn was in Psycho, the movie, the remake. And John Doe says, "What book slash movie do you feel is underrated?" So many, but I'm gonna have to. I would probably go with The Last Valley. The Last Valley is one of my favorite films, and it's based on a book by James Clavell. And here's one step further: they actually made a book adaptation of the film. So there's actually a film. There's actually a book based on a film based on a book, and very few people have seen it. So I'm gonna go with um. Well, I just said it. The Last Valley, James Clavell. Jenny's here. Says greetings from South Carolina. Jenny says, "I was wondering about you tonight." I think I know what you are in reference to. By the way, I was waiting for more of you guys to show up, so I didn't have to tell the story several times. A very old friend of mine has passed on. A young man by the name of Randy. Known him since I was in high school. Kind of lost touch with each other. You know, life gets in the way. I used to see him when I went to the shop he worked at for years. Awesome place in Main Street in Hyannis called Spinnakers. Can you think of a more Cape Coddy sounding shop? Basically, it's a nostalgia shop. Great old movies, pop culture reference posters and TVs, that type, TV shows, that type of thing. Randy passed away suddenly, and I'm feeling very low. I'm sorry, but thank you for asking, Denny. Thank you. Tracy says, "Happy New Year to all." 257 says AI is scary pawns. What I hear about it, I couldn't agree with you more. Melissa says something she just jumped off the page. Hope you have a safe and happy 2025 in a few days, Pawns. I hope you as well. Oh, and that wasn't Melissa, that was Mickey. Excellent. And again, welcome to the party, Mickey. Um, and he goes on to say, "Sorry for your loss, dude. Thank you very much. That's very, very kind of you." 257 says that as well. What you mean says, "Sorry for that as well. Thank you very much." Uh, and 257 says, "Mean Pawn's dumb phone." Yeah. Oh, the phone is very dumb. Yes. And I'm just gonna skim down. I think I jumped down. Oh, Brogu says, "No, I'm sorry for your loss, Thrash. Thank you very much, Brogu. I really appreciate that." He was the type of person. Little backstory here. He was one of the. Oh, Sean says sorry for your loss as well. By the way, I don't want to get too far before I start getting nostalgic. Gary's here. He says, "Happy New Year, everyone. I'm back. R.I.P. President Card, 100 years old." Yes, and welcome to the game, Mr. Gary. Sean says sorry for your loss. A lot of people saying hi to Gary. Uh, just skim down here. Denny says very sad. John says kinda morbid thought is coming. Without the threat of death, there's no reason to live. I'll grant you that. 257 says Gary's at the Pink Panther. Gary Cameron says rest in peace, Olivia Hussey, 73. Definitely. Christopher says sorry for your loss, Bob. Lynn says happy New Year, guys. Make 2025 a great one. Certainly, certainly. 257 says never give up, never surrender. You're right. Gary Cameron says, okay, only know it's Olivia Hussey 73 from Black Christmas. Definitely, definitely. And Teb says, Thrash, would you please consider doing a special trivia on celebrities we lost in 2024? I was going to do that today, but I'll be honest with you. When I found out the bad news, it took the wind out of my sails, and I apologize. There won't be any trivia tonight, but I promise next time we'll do celebrities we lost in 2024. Promise. And I'm sorry I didn't have that for you tonight, guys. 257 says Pawns Pluto TV uh has Galaxy Quest. It's the funniest movie ever. Oh, I know. I remember. Great movie. And Shannon says to Lance, yeah, Psycho was shot scene for scene. No idea why they thought that wasn't a good idea. Zuplex says sorry for your loss. Thank you. Thank you, old friend. And uh John Doe says we don't need trivia on death. Not on death. On those who lived. And Jenny says, they're saying on the next two Bigfoot investigation, there's died kilometer last night in Oregon on a mountain investigation. Oh, I'm terribly, terribly sorry. That's awful. That's awful news. I'm so sorry. But yeah, Randy was one of those people. He was gonna be like the next Quentin Tarantino. Randy, he had absolutely amazing ideas, film wise. He did one of his favorite movies was Not a Living Dead, as his mine. He made a adaptation of it. Only he made it a little more of a comedy, and it worked so well. It was shocking. It was actually an amazing adaptation. I also, you got the promise me you don't laugh. Um, he, I actually was in. He did a proof of concept for. He was going to make. This is back in the mid late '80s when like the Vietnam films were becoming the big thing, Full Metal Jacket and Platoon. He was going to do a war movie farce. The working title was called The Color of Napalm. And I played Sergeant who's or whatever. Uh, and unfortunately, and this was his Achilles heel when he was trying to be a junior filmmaker. Funding was always a problem. Cape Cod is really, really, really provincial, so you're not like bumping into the Eisners or people like that. And so he was never able to get a lot of money to do these little projects. But it was a pity because he was one of the most organically funny people I had ever known in my life. And like I say, these little film projects of his worked very well. And the book says, "Good news, Lance. One of the few we will have." Gary says, "Message retracted," and a message retracted to you as well. Lance says, "Yes, super. I enjoy it." Um, Melissa says, "I want to wish everyone here a happy New Year and a happy Hanukkah. Hope that your Christmas was good. Thank you so much, and a happy Hanukkah to you as well, and a happy New Year." Um, Zerblick says Quentin Tarantino is a poser. Yes, but he basically started an entire generation of independent films, and that was kind of what Randy wanted to do. Randy wanted to make films low budget with a lot of heart, and if things had played out differently, I think he could have surpassed Tarantino. Um, well, this is sorry for your loss, Thresh Bondo. Thank you. It was funny because a coworker of mine who also knew him sent me the link on Facebook, and it was actually really really touching. It blew up. Everybody knew Randy. Everybody knew Randy. He was just one of those people where like everyone knew him. Everyone had a nice story about him. No one had a mean thing to say about him. It's really touching because I mean, well, people tend not to say mean things about other people after they've passed on, but it's like I must confess, people have come up to me, but people I've known have passed on and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, they were kind of a mumser. They were kind of a jerk. I'm not glad they're dead, but no. Not only did Randy, no, it was I profoundly sad when I found out, but a lot of people where he touched a lot of people's lives, and this is gonna sound weird. Like I say, I hadn't hung out with him socially in quite some time. I'd go into the shop he worked at. Like I started shopping at Spinnaker's. I probably in college, if not before, because they always had old vintage music, old wall posters, wall art, collectibles. Absolutely amazing store. When home theater was a thing, you could find the rarest, most obscure movies there. It was one of those where you almost want to challenge them. You'd go in and say, "I want to have Nick Lowe's third album that was never studio released," and they go, "Oh yeah, I have it right here." One of those situations. Not only did I go there for years, my granddaughter she discovered it, and because kids always think they discover these things like, "Oh wow, I heard about this great new band. They're called the Beatles." So anyway, she discovered the Spinnaker records, and we used to go together, and it was kind of a big deal. And I would always see Randy there. He was a fixture, and we always talked. And it was always, "Hey, gotta hang out sometime. Gotta get back together. Gotta do lunch. Gotta catch up. Gotta." And never, 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 never. And now, of course, it's too late. So I think what I'm trying to say here in my uh, baffling way is I'm going to give everybody a homework assignment tonight. Well, for this week or before the new year, before this year ends, I ask each and every one of you to at least try. If you fail, that's fine. It's not always easy to get in touch with people from the past, but I ask each of you is to think of someone you haven't talked to in a long, long time and just send them a message, a text message, a quick phone call to the voicemail, a Facebook, go on an old post of theirs on YouTube and say, "Hey, I still love your work. Still thinking about you. How you doing?" Reach out to someone you haven't talked to in some time, because you don't always know if you will be able to tomorrow. And that's as modeling as I'm going to get. We're going to start moving into happier stuff here. So Here was a poster. Wow, I'm way behind now. I'll try to catch up. What do you mean instead is understandable pawns. Or understandable thrash, I should say. Oh, John says, tired of death scene too much. Why not do trivia on Bigfoot and Wild Boy? Because I only know a couple of questions. Melissa says, sorry for your loss, Thrash Pondo. Thank you again, Miss. Sean says, thank you. Melissa, same holiday wishes to you. My flock is everywhere. Is here, Sister Sarah. So nice to see you, my lady. Welcome. Chance is here, says, hey, everyone. Happy Saturday night to all. Happy Hanukkah to all who light the holy candles. Happy Hanukkah to you too, Chance. And I'm gonna try to catch up here. Oop, up to days. Up to days. Wow, I really jumped there. I did a quantum leap for crying out loud. Uh Boy, when I start getting on the soapbox, uh here we are. 257 says, Pod Blessed, ever seen It Came from Outer Space from 1953? It's a great film. I know I've seen that. I know I can't. Is that the one where it's like a big gelatinous thing and the guy looks at it and it makes him go, ah? I think. Pablo says, yes, cool monster in that film. So I'm guessing it's the same one. And then he's like, hey there, Tracy from Tracy's Fractured History. And Zipperlick says, unfortunately. And Chance says, rest in peace to President Jimmy Carter. Definitely. Oh, by the way, I only caught it at a glance. I was doing like three things at once, but Chance, that post you made where you showed the Jimmy Carter peanut, was that a radio? I have vague recollection of that from the 1970s, and the top hat was the control to change the channel. If it is, let me know, by the way, because if I'm wrong, I don't know where I got that idea, but I would wager. 257 says, agreed, Pod Blast. I saw the magnetic monster on Tubi last night. Oh, I haven't seen that one in years. John Doe says, I grew up in New York City in the 80s and 90s in the middle of the crack heroin epidemic, gangster wars. Crazy. I'm glad you made it, lad. And Gary Carpenter says, only I finally found it on YouTube. Hope to see it later. Oh, cool. And yeah, there's a lot of great stuff on YouTube. I think the MST3K did a version of it. Melissa says, you're welcome, Sean. Mine was different, but good. Had Christmas with my dad and his girlfriend, and we had stir fry instead of traditional ham. Um, we always do Chinese food, so I'm with you on the stir fry. And Sarah says, Tracy, geek coming to, but Chance said no. Oh, okay. And Sean says Melissa sounds like a good time. Stir fry is good. It certainly is. And two of them says no one watched the Puma Man Uncut. I know, Red. Uh, and my vlog is talking emojis and says, hit that thumbs up and share out and comment after the show, please. And thank you. What she said, Sister Sarah, you are amazing. And yes, 257, I knew you meant Puma Man. Gary says, YouTube has been putting on movies that I haven't seen in ages and some I've never seen. And they are in my library phone. Oh, cool. Excellent. And Melissa says it was good. I love stir fry. And Shan says I'm eating ranchos, chicken wings, onion rings, mozzarella sticks, and buffalo wild wings to Lance. Oh, Chance, really stupid question. Really stupid because I know you've been acting more and more. This is gonna sound terrible, so I'm just gonna say it. Were you in an episode of SVU? That's not an insult. Before the show earlier today, I was watching an episode of SVU, and there was a guy, and I only caught him for a minute, but and he's a little heavier set than you, but I could have sworn. If it was you, congratulations. If not, I'm sorry. Oh, actually, a friend of mine from college, a young lady by the name of Sydney Anderson, did at least one episode of Law and Order. In fact, I just saw it the other night. Now that we're talking, and my vlog says to Tracy because Chance has something to do. Sadly, I see. And Lynn says I watched Nail Gun Massacre. Very cheesy. Wow. And 257 says Gary, true, but nothing beats Tubi Pluto TV. And John says, what was the Iron Man ripoff movie from the 70s? Yes. I don't recall, but there was something. Exo Man or something like that. And Tracy says, bummer. Inframan. Yes, and that we'll go with that. And Pablo says condolences to Thrash Pondo about the passing of Randy. Thank you very much, young man. And Gary Carpenter says only I do have Tubi and I haven't used it yet. And John Doe says not Inframan. So is it Exo Man or Exro Man? Exo Man? It's about a kid who actually built this robot suit he could wear and become like a badass. But again, I haven't seen that in 50 years. Close to. Um, Danny says, is always look on the bright side. Always look on the bright side of life. Da 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 da. Always look on the bright side of life. Da 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 da. Because life's a piece of shit when you look at it. And Sean says, homework. Will there be a quiz? No quiz. Chances I'll mail it to you, Lance. Oh, that's very kind of you. He says, no breakout in the song. I just did. If there's one thing, how's it go? If life is going rotten, well, there's one thing you've forgotten, and that's to laugh and smile and dance and sing. Tracy says, message retracted. Oh, someone said Exo. Yeah, Exo Man. Okay. I was right. It was Exo Man. Unless that's wrong, too. And wow, I'm really behind. Oh, Snark Sass is here. Snark Sass, hello. I don't see when you got in, but I did see you left a massage. So I will, while I'm sifting through, I will reference you. And oh, here we go. That's where Tracy. I almost flagged someone accidentally. Excellent. And Gary says to Linz, I know that, but I've been thinking about seeing some movies that I've never seen before. There's plenty of them out there. And Tracy says, LOL, hey Pons, and hey to you too. Oh, Tug is here. He says, Hola. I thought you'd be jet lagged or something. Tug, welcome. So good to see you, my man. Let me know if we're on for next Sunday. And 277 says, Gary, Hey, have a good live TV on Tubi too. And Sister Sarah says to Geek, see you soon. And I'm going to skip through because, like I said, I'm way behind. Two Fevin says Quantum Leap, great 80s TV show puns. It really was. Although I always think of it more as a 90s TV show. It started in 89, did it? If to me, it'll always be a 90s TV show. Eco Man. John Doe says Eco Man. Did you ever see the episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Scott Bakula is a janitor in the old folks' home and they say it's a quantum leap situation? Which is the reverse because he would look like the janitor, he wouldn't look like Scott Bakula. And Chen says, hi, Tug. Is your internet on yet? Good question. Yes, is your internet on yet? And Gary says to Lance, I seen that I've got to dive into them yet. And Tug says to Sarah, I was just saying hello to a bunch of people. And Sarah's given us a link. Thank you very much, Sarah. And Gary says, I'm looking for the old Batman 60s TV show. Good luck. Ever since they started making Batman movies, what they want for an episode of Batman is absolutely redonkadonk. So every now and then you see it on like Me TV or something, but if they try to post those on YouTube, they're gonna get yanked. Uh, Chance says yes, that's right. You're on SVU. Um, and Tracy says, Tug, and boy, are your arms tired. I just flew in, and boy, are my arms tired. And Sarah's giving us a link. Thank you. And Gary says he will when he gets time. Zublik says, time for T-Pawns to jump ahead again. Yes, I'm way behind. And Lance says, Tubi had it a year ago, but not on there anymore. And 207 says, Exo-Man looks like a cheesy looking movie. It was. Oh, and hello again, Snark says. After he says, I do Chinese food on Christmas too. Yeah, it's funny. I always had a feeling that that tradition started with Jewish families because traditionally restaurants would be closed on Christmas and Christmas Day. So the only restaurants that would be open would be the Chinese restaurants. Now, most restaurants are open on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. A lot of them aren't, but a lot of them are. But years ago, it would have only been the Chinese restaurants. So yes, I think that's where the tradition came from. Thank you for the links, Sarah. You're my Lancelot links. Tug says yes, Chance. I finally got internet back the day before I went out of town. Then the book says those granny glasses are not helping. Believe it or not, these are the best glasses I got. I haven't seen Indy yet, but remember, I kept misreading some of his posts. But thank you. And John says you're finally going to do the Smurf trivia tonight. I don't want to disappoint you, but and Chin says my pet bunny rabbit likes your voice, Thrash Bondo. She's resting next to me, listening as I take photos for eBay. Oh, well, I'm glad your rabbit likes my voice, and I hope you get a lot of money for pictures of me on eBay. And a lot of people saying hi to Snarky. Gary Cumber says, where can I watch Exo Man? I think you can watch it on YouTube with MST3K. I think. And Snarky says, boobies for everybody. Love it. And Sean says, okay, Thrash. Just texted two friends from college. IOE in LA, one in Chicago. It's been about a year for one, about 5 for the other since it last communicated. Very proud of you, Sean. Very proud of you. Gold star for the day. Kevin is here. Says hello, everyone. Kevin from Entertainment Headquarters is here, and we are going to be doing the Giant Behemoth on the 5th. I'll talk to you before then, but Happy New Year before then. And Zipper says, "Let's not snark." And Shin says, "That's good news. Tug AT&T owe you a monster-sized credit on your bill." And Gary says, "I'm not sure if Tubi has it or not, but I'm welcome to try." And Sister Sarah has given us another link. I'm guessing to Snark Sass. That's very kind of you. And uh Tug says last year I had KFC for Christmas, wanted to mimic the Japanese experience. LOL. And Jenny says, I'm about to watch 3 hours of The Bastard miniseries from the 70s because I found out Shatner is in it. LOL. Yes, Shatner is in it. He plays Paul Revere. He plays Paul Revere early on. Um, the great thing about now, of course, those are based on the John Jakes series, and my understanding is they vary wildly from the source material. I mean, like wildly from the source material. But I remember they were a little risque for me when I was a kid. I mean, I got to watch them, but I was like, um, there's a lot of adult situations, shall we say. But yeah, they made the Bastard, the Rebels, and the Seekers. They never made any more after that, and I was always bummed out because they were like nine of the books. And Shan says, thanks to my flock is everywhere. Uh, have been back on sets. Excellent. And Kevin says, Happy New Year to all. Lance says, Chance, have any DVDs you don't want? Just asking. Thank you. Oh, Chance is not me. LOL. Okay, so it just happens to be an actor. Not quite as good looking as you, anyway. But at a glance, I'm like, hmm. And John Doe says, Exoman is definitely cheesy, but not as much as Condor Man. I can only imagine. Thank you for the link, Sarah. Uh, Chen says Spectrum Man. I haven't seen that one. And Tug says, "What's the difference between Iron Man and Aluminum Man? One defeats bad guys, the other just foils their plans." I'm guessing that. Curses foiled again. And Gary says, "I need to check on mine to see if they still work, and I know half all of them are messed up." A lot of people having fellowship saying a little one other. I'm going to skim that. Sarah, thank you for the link. Ooh, I think I'm almost caught up. I think. Almost. Oh, well, perhaps not. Oh, Gary says to Pub Less found him on YouTube, but it's in Japanese, not English, the same way as Ultraman. Oh. Snarks says, I almost snuggled up and went to sleep. Well, I'm glad you decided to pop in with us, by the way. Stay with us as long as you feel up to it. Um, John Doe says, I'm planning on watching Shin Ultraman soon. Says he'll catch up tomorrow. At this rate, probably. Uh, 257 says Gary John is on YouTube. Exoman. A lot of people saying hi to one another. Sarah says Pawns I free New Year's Eve party. Oh, that's right. You want to do something on New Year's Eve? I will let you know if I can make it. I'll let you know soon. Good call. Johnny Archer saying hi to Tug. Tug says, Hey, John, thanks for the presents. I'll get in touch with you when I read the book. And I will finish that book very, very, very. I had to put it down. I wasn't able to pick it up during the holidays, just way too busy. But I am well underway. And I'll have it for you soon, I promise. Gary says to John, where can I find the old Japanese shows Ultraman and Battle of the Giants in English? Good question. Lynn says they have all the bat fights on YouTube, though. Wow. And Angela says in California. Um, California knows how to party. Gary Carpenter says, T, we haven't had a school reunion in 20 years since the stupid COVID took over. We haven't seen our school friends in years. I don't keep in touch with the people I went to school with. Didn't like most of them then. And to be fair, what I do is I didn't like my school and the people in it who I thought were very, very, very vapid and superficial, that type of thing. There were a lot of good people, and I keep up in touch with them through social media. But I don't go to my school reunions. Just saying. If you guys do, that's great. You guys do you. But Kenneth says I have the Batman series on DVD. Ooh, excellent, excellent find. And Chance's Heroes and Icons runs Batman and Saturdays and Sundays. That's a MeTV, a Waggle Media Network out of Chicago. Yeah, I thought MeTV still showed Batman on occasion. And John Doe says you might have to ask a local electronics store. If not, you might have a order online. Oh, and Chance says Wonder Woman 2. And Sean says Chinese is still a great bet on Christmas. And 277 says John Exo Man is on YouTube. Cool. And Tracy says, I like your glasses. Well, you remember last week I was wearing a pair that weren't really working? These are the best pair I have in the house. For some reason, I read best with these. So I'm going to continue. Zublick says, LOLT Pawns. Shan says, I own the Batman Blu ray series. Ooh, excellent. And John says, the 66 Batman show on eBay. Official DVDs might pay close near $100. Wow. And Lynn says, where's Emily, Lisa, Cindy, Liz, and Dom? Good question. Perhaps they're with family. A lot of people are still doing post Christmas stuff with their family. But shout outs to all the folks who aren't here with us this eve. And Tracy, absolutely says Tracy, they belong to Mrs. Pons. She gave them to me. They were hers, but she gave them to me. I think they're very Elton John esque. And John says, I'm still trying to find a good local Chinese restaurant since I moved here. I know it's tough, isn't it? Sorry, parched. There were two great local Chinese restaurants in my area. One was called the Dragon Light, one was called the Tiki Port. They just closed the Dragon Light after 50 some odd years. So we went to the Tiki Port. Chance says from 1966 to 1968, starring Adam West, 120 half hours. Were there 120 episodes? I didn't realize there were that many. And Tug says, anyway, just had to come in and say how I'm exhausted from airplanes. I need to sleep more than this again. I am astonished that you were able to make it. Thank you so much for making it. Get some rest, and I'll talk to you soon. Gary says, he said, well, it's John Doe. What about the Batman cartoon series? I know of several of them. There was Casey Kasem did the voice of Batman in one of them, yes. And Ted Baxter actually did the voice of the Joker in an earlier one from like the late 60s, early 70s, I remember. And Tug says, good night, all. I'll be on Sarah's stream on New Year's Eve. Excellent. You might just see me there, lad. Chance's baby says, hi, Tracy. And people saying good night and Happy New Year to Tug. And John says, that's funny for the, I'm guessing he meant chat. John, I'm guessing that's what you meant. Sarah's giving us another link. And still haven't quite caught up yet, but I'm going to try to. Oh, here we are. Danny says, wow. And John says, the best chance if there's a local comic book convention All the 60s and 70s stuff would be there. You're actually right. Gary says, only I'll have to scroll back up to find it. And Zibble says Shatner and his girdle amazing, considering he's 93 and still going strong. It is. He is. He's got a show, The Unexplained, which is actually really good. Mrs. Thrash and I watch it faithfully. And Tracy says absolutely about Shatner. Oh, I loved the Hanukkah post you sent with Shatner, by the way, Tracy. Thank you very much. And Gary says, Pod Blast, I have Wonder Woman American on DVD. And John says, Shatner can break walls with his double axe handed smash. Cool. And Chen says, Johnny Gilbert is amazing too. He's been the voice of Jeopardy since 1984. He's going strong at the age of 96. I guess that gig does not pay well. And Johnny Orchard says, does anyone remember Star Blazers? Our Star Blazers heading off to Iskandar. Yes. Yes, based on the Japanese series, Space Battle Cruiser Yamato. Loved it as a kid. Gotta tell you, when I found it in the original Japanese and I realized just how hooky the translation was, there's, like, for example, there's, now, what was the guy's name? Sergeant Knox. Sergeant Knox, spoiler alert, sacrifices himself by pinning down the Gamelon so that Wildstar can get to his spaceship and fly off. And there's this big dramatic uh, bit between the two of them, and Knox is like, "You go, kid. I never thanked you for saving my men back on planet Bromus." And Wildstar's like, "I can't leave you. You know, you must, but I can't. But you must." And anyway, Wildstar finally does, and the entire station blows up. But right before, of course, he looks at Knox, and Knox is like, "Get out of here! Go, save yourself!" And he gets back to the ship, and the little doctor guy goes, "Sergeant Knox's ship got out right after you left." It's like, I hate you. I was like a 12-year-old kid, and I go, no, he didn't. You're doing this because you're taking a really cool Japanese show and you're trying to sit it down because American kids are too easily triggered. Ew, 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 I can't have death and war. Mm. Stop trying to sand down everything. You're going to raise an entire generation of Bambi Bambis. And 40 years later, so, do I remember Star Blazers? I think the short answer is yes. Now, let's see. Where was I going? Uh, oh, John goes on to say, no worries, gentlemen. Thank you. And John Doe says Battle Cruiser Yamato. There you go. And 257 says, Gary, it blocked me, but Exo Man is on YouTube. Cool. Yeah, dumb YouTube blocked me. And Gary says, two of them I can't upload links. Zibble says, maybe it's just the opposite of nostalgic. What would the opposite of nostalgic be? Forward thinking. And she says, you're so funny, Thrash, about your former classmates. I know. And Chen says, same here to Gary Carpenter, Wonder Woman, Blu-ray. 16mm film too. Ooh, awesome. Well, I gave my Linda Carter World War II DVD sets to a listener viewer of mine, Podians. Excellent. And John Orchard says Land of the Giants is on Apple TV. Ultraman 1966 is on Tubi. Excellent. Zubik says school reunions are foreign to the ear as far as the high school I went to. And Liverpool FC Lancaster Bomber, as in the World War II bomber. Excellent. Is here. It says, is there any mock? I'm going to try this again. Mock mock lemoners here. Mock lim Mocklemizers. A Mocklemizer. Are there any Mocklemizers here? I have no idea what a Mocklemizer is. I'm guessing it's not good, so I'd like to say no. There are no Mocklemizers here. I'm a Thunder the Barbarian fan, so there might be a mock, but not a mock who uh Lemisers. But anyway, I am a World War II buff. So anyone who wants to reference Lancaster bombers is more than welcome here. So Liverpool, home of the Beatles. Welcome to our chat. And 257 says paralyzed by mobsters, a physics professor, David Aykroyd, invents a special suit that makes him mobile and superhuman. Exoman about Gary Ponce. Oh, there we go. Thank you. And Pablo says MeTV runs Batman Saturday nights only in their super sci-fi Saturday night lineup. Isn't that where they actually also do that one of the Big Bang ting tang Lost in Space. I went a long way for Lost in Space. All I can think of is Lost Saucer. And it's funny because they both have the word lost in the title and they're both about saucers, but Gary Cameron says, Pod Blessed, I've seen some of the shorts about the show and I've seen the behind the scenes, which is good. And Alyssa says, I've seen Condorman years ago on video rental, and I originally thought that it was a good movie, but looking back now, I think that it was pretty cheesy. Don't you hate that? Don't you hate that when you love something as a kid, then when you rewatch it, you're like, oh my god, this is dumb, vapid, banal. Zipluke says Ted Knight. I said Ted Baxter, didn't I? Yeah. I always do that. Ted Baxter was the character of Mary Tyler Moore. Yes, I did mean Ted Knight. Thank you. And wow, I am behind. And Gary says, what about Lois and Clark, the New Adventures of Superman? And what about it? And let's just see. Sean just jumped off the page. So we're going to go back. Oh, Lancaster Bomber says, Mock Lemisers, where are you all? I wish I could find these mock Lemisers for you, Liverpool, Lancaster Bomber, LLB, but I want of mock Lemisers. I'm getting good at saying that, at least I think I am. And that might be one of those things where it doesn't roll off a Yank's tongue particularly well. Uh, okay. I believe I'm back to where I started from. You gotta get right back to where we. And Sean says, I was at a friend's last night. I brought him the new 4K release of The Keep. Is that the movie from the 70s? We also watched part of the restored version of Caligula, and it appears they have done well adhering to Vidal's script. And 257 says Prime Video watched will be available on a variety of digital platforms, including Apple. Blah, 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 wow, a lot of platforms. And Liverpool Lancaster Bomber repeats his question, and let's just see. To Gary T-Pon said Ted Baxter, the character from the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Yeah, wow, I'm way behind. And I'm gonna kind of skim through. Oh, John Doe says Space Angels, not really good. The only time I ever watched Space Angels is when I was going to be talking about it on a post, which I did. And 257 says, I've got to go. My phone is dying. Bye, Ponce. Oh, good night. Thank you for joining us. And Teresa's Chance has me hooked on Space Giants. I've gotta watch Space Giants. I tell you what, I love Johnny Sacco, Giant Robot. Love with the last scene, and I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody, but that last scene, I still tear up. And Gary says, Ted Baxter was Ted Knight, and he did another show with Nancy. Yes, he did. Too Close for Comfort had such a crush on Lydia Cornell. I wonder why. And Liverpool reiterates, Michael Misers, where are you? And Melissa says, we've got you here in my town. A Taste of China and Tang's Chinese Palace both are great. Good to know. Gary Cameron says, Melissa, we have China too in our neighborhood. And Gary goes on to say, two loaves for comfort. He did the 10 Night Show. And John says also when they used the Tachyon Drive for the first time, the girl's clothes disappear. I have it on DVD. I didn't notice it until I watched the Star Blazers DVD. Wow, wow! I don't recall that. They probably cut it in my local person. Big Guys 45s is here. He says, "Happy holidays, my good friends." Somebody give a link for Big Guys 45s. I still get a lot of your stuff suggested um, on my channel. I love the old 45s you find and bring us. Excellent. I'm just gonna skim down. Gary says the name Ted Knight was used in the comics as Starman in the All Star Squadron. Uh, and Andre says Ted Knight was in Psycho. I don't recall that. I'm sure he was, but I don't recall. Zerblick says Gary. They did a parody of the opening of Too Close to Comfort as the greatest event in television history. Oh, really? I did not know that. And Sean says, I usually divide it to a nice sit down place and a greasy spoon that is quick and dirty in case the good place is overwhelmed. Now I have neither, sadly. Oh, bummer. And Big Guy says, much love, positive vibes, and respect to all everybody over here. Hope that it was a great Christmas and a great New Year day for everybody over here. Take care now, everybody. Big Guy, so great to see you again. Take care of yourself, and I'll be talking to you really soon. Happy New Year, lad. And I think I just jumped. I'm gonna skim down really fast because John Doe says, what World War II plane was nicknamed the Memphis Belle? Drawn a blank. And Tracy says, you two guys. Snarks says, vapid and banal, incredible vocabulary. Thank you, Snarks asked. Thank you. I choose my words very, very carefully. Oh, hi, Mrs. Thrash. Mrs. Thrash is getting herself a snack. And you have to go through the kitchen to do that. And but again, thank you, Snarks. So it says the B-17 was the Flying Fortress. Yes, the Memphis Belle. The Memphis Belle. It can't be the was it the Corsair? I was gonna say it can't be the the long range fighter escort was the but it was called the Cadillac of the Sky, and that was the Mustang. So yeah, give me the Mustang. I'm gonna have to say Corsair. That's my guess. The Corsair. And Sean says the keep is 1983. Yes, I'm sorry. For some reason, I thought 70s, but now you are absolutely right. And Tree says, I wish that I could be a Rodak action figure. Don't we all? And Gary says to Pod Blast, Buck Rogers and the Battlestar Galactica, not the new show. I'm going to skim down. Oh, Lisa Fields is here. Says, hi, Kenneth. Lisa, so glad you could make it. I hope you had a good Christmas. Stark says, shaving cream, be nice. Shaving cream, be nice and clean. Shave every day and you'll always look keen. First time I heard that when I was a kid, I was listening to the radio with my grandfather and I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard. And my grandfather was a very funny person, started singing along, shaving, and he would make a face when he said shaving cream. And it was like, I almost shaving creamed myself. Sean says Michael Mann directed Jurgen Prochnow, Scott Glenn, and Ian McKellen. With the keep, yes, indeed. And John says, much love to all. I have to go, Thrash. Check on you tomorrow. Peace. Definitely, definitely. Talk to you soon, lad. Take care, John. Gary Cameron says a guy named Irving has a show on the Incredible Hulk, Super Friends, and The Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Great shows. A lot of people say goodnight to Johnny. Danny's dropping us a link. Uh, Lisa says happy New Year's. A lot of people saying hi to Mrs. Thrash, and I believe I'm caught up. Yay! Zublik says a B-17. No, the B-17 was the Flying Fortress. Shanda says Memphis Belle. What? Oh, the Memphis was a B-17. Oh, I see. Oh, okay, all right, I'll buy that. There was so it wasn't the name of the ship, but there was one that was named that because they used to give them specific names. Okay, now I'm with you. I'm sorry, Zublik. I misinterpreted. And I'm gonna skim down. And John Doe confirms it. Huh. I always thought they were called the Flying Fortress. And Chan says, I love when people watch the Space Giants for the first time since it's fun. And my Fox says, I ship me plants. And Chen says, Rodak not to be confused with Kodak. Indeed, Tracy says. Sarah's giving us another link, and Gary says, Pod Blast, the Space Giants and Ultraman were on Japan. I'd love to find them in English. And Danny says, I got enough old man gifts to last me till next year. Fancy razors, body waves, and skin lotions. And that's stinking cologne with the ship on the Old Spice. Tracy, Sarah says, I need booze. Benjamin says, I will try to be there. Sarah, excellent. Kevin's got 76 is here. Hey, Kevin, how's it going? He says, happy belated Christmas if you celebrate. Thank you. Did we figure out what a mock lamizer was, by the way, guys? Does anybody know what a mock lamizer was? Kevin, are you still there? What's a mock lamizer? And am I just saying a naughty word in England and everyone's laughing at behind my back? Wouldn't be the first time. I used to work with a bunch of kids who spoke Russian, and they would say, this word means young lady. Go up to her and say, and I'm like, you won't get rid of me that easy. But good to see you, Kevin. Oh, and Gary says Music Girl is having a New Year's party on her channel. Oh, excellent. That's so nice. And Sean says to Podblast, I'll have to check it out too after that recommendation. LOL. Zibble says, I understand Elvis was addicted to Old Spice, to many things too. And Melissa Foster says, that's just sad. We had a great truck stop as well. It was a sit down restaurant called The Big Stop. They had closed in October and reopened as an IHOP in November. Oh, commiserations. That's very, very sad. Sarah's laughing at something I said. Could be anything. Gary Gummer says, I've never seen Zone Fighter. Neither have I, but it sounds familiar. And Pablo says, Gary, I am uploading the Space Giants in English uncut on my channel. Excellent. And Tracy also says, awesome. And Sarah loves Chance. Oh, Sarah loves Chance. And Kevin says, which Christmas movie is better? Elf or The Grinch? Not setting the bar very high, are you? I kind of like the way Jim Carrey played the Grinch. Um, and someone said it best with Elf. It would have made a great Saturday Night Live sketch. It just did not loan itself to full length feature film. You could say the same thing about the Grinch, but if I have to pick between the two, I'm going to pick the Grinch. Oh, Former's Content is here. He says, Happy Holidays, Thrash, and everyone. Gary says, "Pod blast." Okay, good. How can I find you? Um, I'm guessing best way would be on Facebook. A lot of people saying Anonymous is thrash and deforms content. And Sarah's right. Everyone loves Chance. We certainly do. In a healthy, non threatening kind of way. And Gary Cameron says, Kevin, neither movie. I'd rather have a cartoon one with Karloff. Well, who wouldn't? Chuck Jones animation, the real Boris Karloff, Thurl Ravencroft singing. How could you not? And oh, Gary, Chance has given you his contact information. And Form says, I've never seen Elf or the Grinch movie. Not missing much. No offense to either. And John Doe says, what is the only Smurf in the comic strip that didn't appear in the animated series? Answer, Accountant Smurf. Does that mean Smurfs get audited? That's a good question. That's a really good question. And Gary says there was a lottery drawing last night and Christmas Eve, but I don't know if anyone got it. I heard someone won the 1.2 billion, the b billion, 1.2 billion. And it wasn't me, it was someone in California. That might have been why Superplugs brought up California earlier. But I'm just guessing. Thank you for the links, Sarah and Tracy. Kevin's giving a smiley face to Gary, and Sean says, someone in the Northern California won the Mega Millions at 1.2 billion. And Shan says, there is Gary Carpenter. Thanks to Tracy, History, and more. And Teb says, what's your favorite song with winter in the title? Hazy Shade of Winter. Hazy Shade of Winter. And Sarah says, you're most welcome to Chance. Danny's giving us a link. Thank you. Chance says, in taxes. Tracy saying hi to Teb. Sarah says, I won nothing. You're in good company. And Super says, no, up. I put up in California because Sarah said she was cold. Yes, and she's in California. Okay, now I got you. Now I got you. And Kevin says, Selena Gomez is a billionaire. Selena Gomez is a billionaire? I knew she was well off. I know she was a billionaire. You know, I've got to start watching that show that she's doing with Steve Martin. It looks cute, but like I said, I've just never gotten around to seeing it. And I heard she's engaged now, so I hope things work out for her. She had a bumpy road for a while. And so let's see. So I'm caught up, and you guys are dwindling. Oh, Denny says I'll be back. Well, if you are, we're still here. Great to see you. If not, Happy New Year, Danny. So here's the sitch. As we are dwindling, we had a few more minutes. We got a few more minutes, but is there anything anybody wants to talk about in these last few remaining days of 2024? Now's the time to do it. Enzo says $1 billion apparently ain't what it used to be. Nothing. Nothing is what it used to be. As Leonard Cohen said, won't be nothing you can measure anymore. The blizzard of the world has crossed the threshold and it's overturned the order of the soul. And when they said, repent, repent, I wondered what they meant. You gotta do a Leonard Cohen voice. I wondered what they meant. Sean says, message retracted to you too. Thank you for your link, Sarah. And Teb says, do you prefer the Jeff era of Lassie or the Timmy era of Lassie? Oh, I don't know. Probably Timmy. Probably Timmy. I haven't watched Lassie in 40 years. And Kevin says, best Christmas movie ever. Best Christmas movie ever. I'm sorry. I'm going to go with an obvious one. I'm going to go with It's a Wonderful Life. And don't get me wrong. If you want me to do wackiest Christmas movie ever, I'm going to do Night of the Comet. And yes, that is a Christmas movie. Oh, and by the way, if any of you have seen, Dave put up a great little game. He shows clips from classic Christmas movies. And first it's a zoom, and then he zooms out a little bit more, and then he zooms out more. So if you get it from a little clip, it's 3 points. If he gives you more information, it's 2 points. And if he basically tells you the name of the movie, it's only 1 point. But Sean, you beat me actually. You got 27 points. I got a respectable 26. But Dave has confirmed that Love Actually is in fact a Christmas movie. Um, I saw it as an epic rom com, but no, it is a Christmas movie. But I'm going to stick with "It's a Wonderful Life" is the best. Sarah says, "Let's talk about how cool Pawns is." Oh, you're embarrassing me. And Gary says, "My fault." Goldar, Silvar, and Gam. Gam, huh? I'll take the Goldar and Silvar, but uh, Black Betty, Gam again. Oh, Black Betty, Gam again. And somebody says, "Are you going to post more wretched recaps?" If you want me to, yes. In fact, when I was cleaning up some stuff around the computer the other day, and I found a box of comics that I had put aside for the Richard recaps. So yes, I want to do another Richard recaps. I also do want to do another top 10 list. Oh, would you like a sneak peek of my next top 10 list of dad jokes? Well, you're getting it anyway. So, man bought himself four koi fighting fish, and one was an alpha, one was the beta, one was a gamma, and one was a measly delta. And he named them in order, as in he named the alpha A, the beta B, and the gamma C. And he cherished them greatly, except for the last one. And I go, "What's wrong with the last one?" He goes, "It's just a decoy." I'm still working on that one. John Doe says mushroom pop culture. Mrs. Thrash is taken to drinking mushroom coffee. I think she wants to reenact The Last of Us or Matango or some weird sci-fi where the mushroom takes you over. What was that? Alfred Hitchcock. Speaking of Ray Bradbury. Oh, Special Delivery. Have you guys not seen Special Delivery? It's sort of, well, I think the stuff was based on it, but it's based on this Ray Bradbury short story. And God, I miss Indie Spouts. Zublik says a Christmas story. That's a good one. John Doe says New Year's Eve or New Year's Day special live chat. Probably do something. I probably should do New Year's Day because Mrs. Thrash is going to be at work. Zublik says, yes, we do. Kevin Scott 76 says Blade Runner is a Christmas movie. Prove me wrong. Those dreams are gone now. Like tears in the rain. Do you know for years, I couldn't get through that entire monologue without getting like misty? I'm serious. It was just the way Ricker Howard did it was so powerful. I've seen things you people can't imagine. I've seen attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. But for years, before I could get to the last line, I'd start to get all choked up. It was, I don't know, just for some reason that whole scene struck me. But yes, it's a Christmas movie. Fine. Teb says good night, Thresh. Hey, good night to you, Teb. Thanks for joining us, by the way, man. And thank you for keeping me on top of the recent path things. There've been a lot of them, and you're always great about doing that, Teb. And I want to thank you very, very much. Have a wonderful New Year and stay in touch, my friend. And Lisa says Love Actually is actually set at Christmas time. There's even a Christmas pageant thrown in there. Oh yes, it's that's just it. Some people said that it was a rom com which happened to be set at Christmas. Um, but then again, there's that infamous scene where Andrew Cutterbunk, shows up at Keira Knightley's house with the boombox, say I'm carolers. Um, uh, th- th- it is a Christmas movie, but I'm just like saying opinion is divided. But that's our Dave. Our Dave has actually closed the books. It, in fact, is a Christmas movie. And thank you, Lisa Fields. Mrs. Thrush wants to watch that movie again now, too. And Gary says, my flag, Methuselah was the old man that was over gold or silver. Uh, why is there a bell ringing in my head? It's probably just my tinnitus. And Chen says, that's it to Gary Carpenter. And Gary says, public. That's kind. Thank you, kind sir. And Darth Rodak. And Sarah says, good night, everyone. Sarah, good night to you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything. I will talk to you before New. I got the link for New Year's Eve. I'll talk to you before New Year's Eve, and we will firm things up. And Chin says, Alfred Hitchcock presents. Yep, Mushroom Monsters. Yeah, that one was creepy. And if I remember correctly, it's one of the few science fiction episodes Alfred Hitchcock Presents did. They were known more for, even though a lot of people associated them with the Twilight Zone, and there's a lot of similarities between the Twilight Zone and Hitchcock Presents. But usually Hitchcock was thrillers. This was 100% science fiction. A lot of people say good night to Sarah. What do you mean says, yeah, good night to Sarah. Happy New Year. Melissa Foster says National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Love that movie, but for some reason the kids' ages are reversed. In all the other movies, the son, Rusty, is older than whatever the daughter's name is. I'm sorry. In Christmas Vacation, Juliette Lewis is the older sister. In the first one, not Dorothy. Why do I keep want to say Dorothy? No, that's not it. But in the Audrey isn't Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors. But anyway, the young girl, last name is Barron. She's a distant cousin of mine, and I'm sure I've mentioned that before. John Doe says Attack of the Mushroom People, A plus. That's why I said Matango. Matango is the Japanese name for Attack of the Giant Mushroom People, which freaked the bejeez out of me when I was a kid. That movie scared the but that's one of the reasons why I don't eat mushrooms to this day. I got like traumatized by that movie. And it's actually based on oh, what was it called? But it was a short story by Joseph Conrad, which I've actually read. There's actually a couple adaptations of it. I should, you know what? I should do a deep dive on Attack of the Giant Mushroom People. Thank you, John, for the idea. John Doe says, when you eat a mushroom, you become a mushroom. Exactly. Oh, and as I'm saying exactly, Chance says exactly to thrash Pondo Pawns. Oh, and yes, he's agreeing with me. Hitchcock was suspense slash thriller, that type of thing that sort of edge of your seat, but they generally didn't do science fiction, as opposed to Twilight Zone, which wasn't always science fiction, but was for the most part, science fiction. And I was thank you. It is Audrey. Thank you. And Gary says good night. All good night, Good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are. That's the best Jimmy Durante can do on such short notice. And Happy New Year. A lot of people saying good night and Happy New Year. Sean says, good call, Wedge. Oh, you met Dana Barron? Really? You met Dana Barron? Her best friend went to the same college. She was a wee bit full of herself at the time. I've actually never met her. Gary says, I found both versions of that movie that haven't seen yet. Really excellent, excellent. And John Doe says, "Remember where you where I'll come in again. Remember wherever you go, there you are." Um, Adventures in the Fourth Dimension, Buckaroo Banzai, Buckaroo to Penny Pretty. Gary Carter says Hitchcock was a weirdo and possibly a predator. Arguably, there have been some people who made that call, but I did like the show. Entry says, "I'm a CNC with you, Robert." You know, the man sent me a text. He sent me a text right before the last Retro Pals and asked me who was running the show because he was hoping that he could stop by. I said Dave was running the show, and he's kind of like, "Oh," and then there was no follow up. So I was kind of I was hoping that he might make a guest appearance. I'd love to work with the man again. Little people saying Happy New Year's. It says ENC looks like he has permanently left YouTube Tracy. Well, yeah, but then again, he wanted to come by Retro Pals. That would have been really nice to have him. And Greg says, "Remember, whatever you do, we're gonna." Oh, remember, whatever you do, we're gonna do this together. Wherever you go, whatever you do, count me in two. We're together. I was thinking, and I used to say this. I used to say this years ago. Still do it from time to time. Robert De Niro in Brazil. Brazil. He always says, "Hey, we're all in this together." And Sean says, "Yep, hope ENC is doing well. If he is lurking, Merry Christmas, buddy." Yes, definitely. Ian, you are not forgotten, my friend. You are not. And Chin says the actors were rotated each vacation movie after Michael Anthony Hall chose to act in Weird Science instead of European Vacation. As a running gag, casting hired New Girl 2. Yes, but they were always the boy was always older than the girl, except for Christmas Vacation. For some reason, they get the ages switched there, but it did become a running joke. I think Chevy had something to do with that too. Like he was going to actually reference that, like, haven't you noticed the kids are different again, or something like that. But it didn't come to fruition. And Shin says Dana Barron acted in Beverly Hills 90210 in the early '90s. Love her. I did not know that. I did not know that. Uh, and what do you mean says I did not know that either. And then he says, "I made it back just in time for us to say goodnight." Yes, folks, I think I'm going to call it. I want to thank all you guys for showing up tonight. You know that I love doing these shows. I love having you guys here with us. I love reading your comments. I love how interactive these are. It means a lot that you guys you can take time out of your week every week to show up here and just comment on what I'm spouting about. It meant a lot. And I was kind of down tonight. I must confess. I almost. I'm a little ashamed. It says I almost pulled the plug. I almost didn't go on tonight, but then I'm like, no, no, that's stupid. I'm glad I went on. I'm glad you guys all made it. I'm glad you were here. I'm glad we had the flash show in these last hours of 2024. Hope you guys all stay safe for the remainder of it. Be good, be safe, be careful. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all again very, 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 very soon. Peace.